Welcome to In Bed with Brooke, episode 5. So on episode 5, we're now finally beginning chapter 2 because I'm only reading 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Again, if I read too quickly, please let me know. And again, I'm not doing voices for the characters simply because it's story time, not audiobook time. But please feel free to continue to leave me the positive comments or feedback in the comments below. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Brooke Gillespie-Trout author. Visit my website, brookegillespie-trout.com. And of course, buy my books on amazon.com. And please leave a review. All right, here we go. 5 minutes, let's go. Chapter 2 begins with, "You two are fucking dickheads," Slater grumbled as they stood in the parking lot outside of Alex's condo. "You're not much better," Matt countered. "You were acting like a jerk, hitting on her." "I wasn't hitting on her, fuckhead. Finding someone attractive and hitting on someone are two different things. Trust me, you would have known if I was hitting on her." Slater let out a sharp laugh, giving Matt a cynical smile. "And trust me when I say, I can guarantee I would have had a hell of a lot more luck with her than you had, pussy." Slater has a potty mouth, in case you hadn't noticed. So Matt had it with Slater calling him that. He barely even knew the guy. He wondered where the ass got off calling him names. He clenched his teeth and glared at him. "Fuck you, man." Slater snickered, deciding Matt's lame comeback didn't warrant a response. He turned to Hayes. "And what the fuck was your problem? You don't go into someone's house and start cutting lines of coke, you dick." Hayes was high, but not high enough to forget about the wasted coke. "Chill the fuck out, Slater." Turning to Matt, Hayes jerked a thumb over his shoulder in the direction of Alex's condo. "That cunt owes me coke." "Watch your mouth," Slater reprimanded, always having an extreme dislike of that word and a sudden need to protect Alex. "You don't even know her. Don't go calling her that." "She destroyed my coke and my pot." He rubbed his nose with a sniffle, "not to mention my buzz." Matt rolled his eyes. "Shut up, Hayes. Go score some more if you need it that bad, but don't even think about trying to go back there and make her pay up. She was serious about calling the cops." "So where the fuck do we go now?" Hayes wondered. He was just sober enough to realize that they weren't going to have a place to crash tonight. Slater was wondering the same thing, but he wasn't going to voice his frustration or his needs to these two. At this point, he would give anything to have a warm, dry place to sleep, but he had nothing to give. He had the clothes on his back, 2 changes of clothes and 1 pair of shoes in his bag, and $20 to his name right now. $20 to hold him over for 4 days until their next gig. He didn't know what the fuck he was going to do. He refused to think about what they would do as a group. As far as he was concerned, these two were on their own. He'd figure something out for himself. The entire situation had him angry. Not only had he been looking forward to shelter for the night, but he was also looking forward to hanging out with Alexandra some more. Not just because he thought she was hot. He thought she was cool and he wanted to get to know her better. He took a step back from Hayes and Matt, lighting up a cigarette and thinking about his next step for the evening. Matt glanced over at Slater when he smelled the smoke. "Let me have one of those, man." Blowing smoke in Matt's direction, Slater studied him, seeing why Alex got so pissed off at him. What the hell was Matt thinking, he wondered. He'd been a douche to him from the moment they met, and now he wanted to bum a smoke? And he wasn't even asking. He was ordering Slater to give him one. He wasn't about to share anything with this jerk. "Get your own, pussy." Matt stepped forward suddenly. He grabbed the front of Slater's shirt, twisting it in his hand and jerking Slater close to his face. "Call me that one more time, man, I dare you." Very quietly, yet very dangerously calm, Slater eyed Matt, his voice even. "I'm giving you 5 seconds to get your goddamn hands off of me. If you don't, you're gonna wish you were never fucking born." Matt wanted to test him, he really did, but Slater's green eyes were feline as they glowed with warning, frightening him as he saw true danger in them. Slowly, he released Slater's shirt and stepped back and turned to Hayes. "Let's get out of here." Hayes and Matt traipsed off. Slater stood where he was, watching them go. After a minute of walking, Hayes noticed Slater wasn't with them. He turned around, seeing Slater still standing there smoking and watching them go. "Are you coming, man?" Slowly, Slater shook his head. "Fuck no, Hayes. If you're still hanging out with that pussy," he looked pointedly at Matt, "I'm not hanging out with you. I'll figure something out on my own. See you at the next gig." He didn't give Hayes a chance to answer, walking backward for distance to get his point across. Hayes shrugged and thought it was best to get these two away from each other anyway. "Suit yourself, man," he muttered and turned to walk back with Matt. Slater watched them walk off, and he sat on the curb at the edge of the parking lot to finish his cigarette, thinking about what his next move was going to be. He looked up at the top floor of the building and wondered what Alex would do if he knocked on her door right now. Shaking his head, he smiled when he thought about her display of anger just a few minutes ago. At first sight, she looked so sweet and innocent, but clearly she was the kind of person that if backed into a corner, she came out swinging and she was going to win. Exactly like himself. Beautiful, strong, and sassy. A hot combination in a woman, if you asked him. He finished his cigarette and flicked it off into the distance. Standing up, he put his bag on his shoulder and strolled out of the parking lot. Slater took the bus to Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard. He had worked there briefly 2 years ago, and he still soon knew some of the employees. With any luck, one of the guys he got along with would be working tonight. Occasionally, he stopped in to shoot the shit, catch up on the latest music, and just kill time. As he opened the door to the store, the loud music hit him full force, and he nodded in appreciation. Tonight's album choice had Derek written all over it. He was relieved. He always liked working with Derek. We'll go just a little bit longer on this one. Slater's time at Tower had been short-lived because he called in sick or was constantly trying to switch shifts with other employees because of gigs. Derek had tried to stand up for him and save his job. However, the manager of the store had had enough when Slater called in either sick, hungover, or too busy to come in for 5 shifts in a row and fired him the next time he decided to show up for work. Slater walked to the register, hanging out to the side as Derek finished ringing up a transaction. Once the customer left with her purchase, Derek turned to Slater and smiled, shaking his hand. "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. What's up?" "I'm just keeping busy, booking gigs and rehearsing with the band." "When do you play next? I haven't seen you guys since you got the new guitar player." "This Saturday. You should come." Slater reached into his bag and got a flyer for their gig and handed it to Derek. "Chris rocks on guitar, man. You've got to come see us. We're solid now. I can feel it. We're going to be huge." Derek had always been impressed anytime he saw Heart and Soul perform. "I'll come check it out. I'm off at 7 on Saturday, so I can make it." Slater looked around the store. It was quiet. "Are you the only one working tonight?" "Yeah, Rachel called out sick, so it's just me until closing time." "Well, I've got nowhere to go. Care if I hang out?" "Sure." "Here," he gestured towards Slater's bag. "Let me put that in the back." There were very few people Slater trusted with his belongings. Everything he owned was in that duffel bag. He trusted Derek and handed it over with a nod of thanks. Hanging out at Tower Records wasn't exactly the relaxing evening Slater had hoped for tonight, but it would do for now. He took his time, sifting through new releases and shaking his head at some of the bands that were out right now. How the hell did these guys get an album deal, he wondered, holding up a record and looking at the band on the front cover. 4 guys with teased hair and full makeup pouted into the camera, supposedly making girls' hearts swoon all over the place. He didn't get it. A little hairspray and some eyeliner to pull together a look was one thing, but full-on girly makeup? Hell no. Slater Hart didn't need some gimmick to get the attention of the world. He had his voice and his moves on stage. Above all, he had the drive to make his dream happen. So we'll stop there tonight. So my question for you is, do you recognize that album that Slater's looking at? 4 guys with teased hair and full makeup pouted into the camera. So if you guessed Look What the Cat Dragged In by Poison, you were right. I see that as one of the ones that he's looking at in the bookstore, or the record store. So it was kind of fun, just really exploring the 80s with this book, and there are more references to come. So as always, stay tuned. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, share this video with your friends and spread the word. Thanks. Have a good night.